Maddie, and welcome back to this week's video, or welcome if you are new. My name is Maddie, and I post 3 times a week here on YouTube. For this week's video, I am going to be doing a how I edit my Instagram pictures, since I have gotten a lot of questions about that, and a lot of people really like how I edit my Instagram pictures, so I thought I would share that with everyone. So yeah, I will share my secrets and everything like that. So anyways, let's get right into the video. So once I've already taken my pictures, this is what I basically do. So I take them on my phone majority of the time. What I'm going to do is go into my photos and videos, which these are just basically all my editing apps that I use. I like to play around with 2 apps. I definitely like VSCO or VSCO. So these are just some pictures that I took today. So let's just pick one. I'm going to pick a few here. Normally I take a bunch and then I go and kind of pick my favorite out of them. So I just picked 12. Okay. So now, basically kind of how I get into my overall editing style. So I'm going to go and use this picture right here. And then I like to go in with the filter C1. And then I tone this down. It normally is at 12.0. And I normally like to tone this down to about 5. And then this is where I kind of play around with the exposure. I will slide it up, slide it down, depending on how I want it to look. So right now I'm going to have the exposure down to -1.5. And then contrast, I like to play with that as well. And I'm going to put that at 0.6. And sometimes I adjust this even after I've done majority of my editing. Just to kind of play around with. These are ones I really go back to play around with. So then I'm going to go in with my sharpen tool, and I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit, not too much, probably roughly about like a 2.8. And then I go in with my saturation, and I just up it a little bit, so roughly about 1.5, somewhere around there. And then I go in with my tone, and I go into highlights. So I put all my highlights up to a 12.0, and then I play with the shadows just to see if I need to do any of that, which I'm not going to. And then this is how I get that like really pretty blue color. I go into white balance, and I bring my temperature down to about a 1.5, somewhere in that general area. So that is what it looks like, and then sometimes I'll go back into my saturation and kind of decrease that just to make it natural, just depending on the look I'm going for. If I want a more cool tone skin color look, then I move it to the negative side. If I want a more bright saturated look, I normally like to amp that up just a little bit, but keep it pretty natural. And then I go back to my exposure and just check to see if everything is how I want it, as well as my contrast. Yeah. Okay. So that is basically what I use for VSCO. I do that with basically all my apps, and then I just go ahead and save them to my camera roll like that. Next, another app that I like to use is Lightroom. So this is how I edit my photos on Lightroom. And I normally like to edit a few different apps just to kind of see what photo I like the best. Because sometimes some apps work a little bit better or different, and they can give you different things. So I just like to play around with a few. So I'm going to go in with that same one that I did, which was that picture. And I like to go into presets, and I really like the high contrast and detail, but sometimes I like to do the natural. Granted, it does depend on the look I am going for. So I'm going to kind of try to mock the same one I did on Visco. So I'm going to be using the high contrast and detail. And then I go into my light, and I'm going to bring the contrast down a little bit and up the exposure on, up the exposure on this one, and highlights. I'm going to do that at a 46. Shadows, I'm going to drop the shadows to -31, and then whites I do it about 25, somewhere around there. And then blacks I don't really focus on much, kind of keep it right about -40. It does depend on the picture, but if you guys can see where it changes in the picture, then you guys kind of get the gist. Then for this little thing for the color changing, I just switched my thing over to the mix. So this is so you can focus on a specific color. So I am going to go in with the blue, and I switch the hue up to a darker blue, and I like to saturate and illuminize that, and I'm going to go in with the yellow, and we're actually going to bring that down more towards a yellow orangey color, and I'm going to play around with that. I'm going to do that. And yeah, so I will just go over to my camera roll, and there's all my other pictures, and then I'll have the ones that I took. So I use the same picture, and it's just back to back, so I can see which one I like better, which one is more appealing. As you guys can tell, these are two different tones, but I try to, these are kind of roughly around the same style that I edit with. They're just two different. One is a more vibrant one, and one is kind of a lighter, airier one. So those are the two kind of styles I stick with when I edit my Instagram pictures. Hey guys, thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know this was a little bit of a different video than I normally put on my channel, but I thought you guys would enjoy it. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys did, please give this a big thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions for video ideas. I would love to hear it, and let's chat in the comments. Bye!